Start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnedhi Shruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabiryajatraha Stirairangaihi Stuštuvagam Sastanovihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuho Swasti na Indro Vriddashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvasedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no brihaspatirdhagato Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying the Mundaka Upanishad as taught by Swami Vidyaranya in chapter 6 of Anubhuti Prakasha. Anubhuti Prakasha is a text written by the same author of Pancharasi, and his name is Swami Vidyaranya. He is one of the greatest acharyas who have taught Vedanta. And the way he has taught Vedanta is amazing. It's really, really amazing because he is able to drive home the point of the main theme of Vedanta, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So that theme he is able to bring out very, very clearly. Just excuse me for a minute. So this Brahma Vidya is the central theme of in these mantras which we are seeing now. The main essence of the Upanishads is brought about. This Upanishad introduces two technical terms. One is Paravidya, another is Aparavidya. When you try to ask the question, who am I? That relates to Paravidya. When you ask the question, what is this world? That relates to Aparavidya. So this is how we should try to understand the technical terms and learn this knowledge of Vedanta and apply to ourselves. The biggest challenge is this is not a knowledge just to be kept in the mind, like academic knowledges. You know, we have certain knowledge which we pick up, knowledge of physics, chemistry, medicine, law, business, finance, computer, astronomy, astrology. So many knowledges are there. Now, those are all Aparavidya. It deals with Anatma. Paravidya deals with Atma. Atma is never taught by any other text except Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra. These are called Prasthana Trayam. Atma or Paravidya is taught in these three texts. You won't find Paravidya in any other English literature. It is only in this Sanskrit literature you will find the technical term and the meaning of that. We studied, so the first thing we must know is what is Paravidya, what is Aparavidya. Then we should know that to understand this knowledge, we need a guru, which is what we saw in verses 47 to 50. Why a guru is important? Because this is subjective science. Somebody who has gone through this path, it is an internal path to be done through the mind. It is not an external journey where you fly off, take a flight and go off to America or go to India or go to Singapore or any part of the world. This is not a physical journey. It is a mental journey. So the importance of the guru was stressed from verses 47 to 50. And before that, mainly the details of Paravidya and Aparavidya, what it consists of, was given. Now we are dealing with an extremely important topic, and that is the creation of the world and the central message of Mundaka Upanishad. From verses 51 to 57, we are right in the middle. We are studying 53rd verse now. But this section, 51 to 57, covers creation and how should I change my view about this creation. I have some knowledge about creation today. That is what I have seen through my sense organs, but it is not complete knowledge. We all have knowledge of creation, birth, death, world, and so on. We know what the world is, but then it is only a small portion of the creation we know. Veda teaches us a completely different view of creation. It is called as darshanam. We have seen already 51, 52. Now we will today enter 53rd mantra. I will be going slow in these section from 53 onwards to 57. I will be going slow. Maybe I will take one mantra for one session because we are entering into a very, very important portion of all Upanishads, and that is Mahavakya. I will introduce you when we start the topic, but just to inform you that it will be a slow process. It is not going to be 8 verses per session or 6 verses per session, but it's going to be 1 or 2 verses for the next 2-3 sessions. This is where we stopped last week. We wanted to start the 53rd verse. In the 51st verse, we have seen there are 2 aspects of creation. One is what is called a sentient principle, which is aksharam. And the second is called as insentient principle, maya. Okay, so this is the background you should remember. Creation consists of sentient principle, which is called as aksharam brahma, and the power of that Brahman, which is called as matter principle, is the second component. The sentient principle is absolute. It means it is paramarthikam. This is again a technical word. Paramarthikam means it is beyond our senses. It exists, but it is beyond our senses. It's beyond our mind. Matter principle, which is maya, is within the sense organs. I can perceive the world through my sense organs. It is called as maya. The universe which we experience has got 2 states. One is a potential state, and which is called as unmanifest. And then there is a second state called as manifest. I'm just revising what we did in 51 and 52. This is how creation is explained in Mundaka Upanishad, and very, very, very scientific. If you really understand slowly, you'll find there is a lot of order in this. The universe, which is perceived, the manifest universe, is nama and rupa, name and form. For every name and form, there is a substratum. Substratum is Aksharam Brahma. The name and form is matter. So in Vedanta, we say that primary essential aspect of creation is Brahman, or sentient principle, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. That is the primary substratum on which the whole creation is manifesting, unmanifesting, manifesting, unmanifesting. So what is experience? Suppose we are right now, what are we experiencing? Manifest matter principle. In sleep, what happens? This manifest matter principle, Maya, goes into potential condition. Potential means what? Tomorrow morning, when I get up from sleep, it will still appear. This is very, very important point in Vedanta. You must be very clear about Maya. What is Maya? Manifest, unmanifest. Together is called as Maya. Maya is Panchabhutas. It comes and goes, comes and goes, changing, always changing, continuous flux. What is changeless? The seer, experiencer, consciousness is non-changing. It is also called as Sakshi, because it is not affected by Maya. Okay, I hope it's clear so far. If you have understood this, then we can progress, because these are all technical in nature. If you understand the terms, understand the background behind, you will appreciate, and you will also be able to understand Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This sentence which I have just now said, remember it. This is the three sentences which we have to remember throughout the study of all Upanishads. Number one, Brahma Satyam. The sentient principle is always there. Number two, Jagan Mithya. The world is an appearance of manifestation, unmanifestation. Second statement. Third statement, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. I am not the Jiva which I am thinking today. The Jiva today is thinking that it is born and it will die. But the Upanishad has got a different meaning for the Jiva. This Jiva, in misconception, in error, erroneous perception, thinks that it is the body. But really speaking, the Jiva's nature is Brahman. That is why the third statement, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, is very, very critical. That is explained in the second section of the second chapter. Right now, we are doing the second chapter, first section. consisting of 10 verses of Mundakopanishad. So in this particular verse, from Brahman, which possesses Maya, I already explained to you what is Maya. Maya is this entire Prakriti. Prakriti is made up of Panchabhutas. What are the Panchabhutas? Space, air, water, fire, earth. So the world we experience is only these 5 elements in different forms. What this verse says, from that Brahman, that pure consciousness which always exists, this world comes and goes, manifests and unmanifests. When it is manifesting, we call this world as Virat. V-I-R-A-T, Virat. It is in the body of this Virat, the whole world is existing. How do I understand this? In the body of the waker, the entire, in the mind of the waker's mind, the whole dream world exists. Similarly, the whole waking world exists in something called as Brahman. That is what this verse is saying. See, this 53, 54, 55, these are all technical verses. See the notes, they are very beautiful notes. It will explain to you each and every portion of these verses. It breaks down them down to padas. It will explain to you. And the more, first time you understand whatever is being taught, then you can revise the notes. You will find you have more clarity. If you understand these 4 or 5 verses, you have understood the entire literature of Vedanta. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. 4 or 5 verses are there. So, Asmat Maya Vinaha. From this Maya Ishvara, following is born. What is the following? Vyat Adi Jayate. Vyat means space. Kham Vayuhu. Kham means space. Vyat means space. All the 5 elements are born from this Maya principle. Maya means unmanifest Prakriti principle. In the Mundakopanishad, this is the particular mantra which Vidyaranya is quoting. Etasmat jayate pranaha manas sarvendriyani cha kham vayur jyotirapaha prithvi vishwasya dharini. This mantra comes in Mundakopanishad, also in Kaivalya Upanishad. Very similar mantra is there in Kaivalya Upanishad also. Very, very important mantra. See, there are few mantras which I told you already, which are important mantras. When I was teaching the Mundakopanishad before in the section, I have said. So this is one of the very important mantras. From him is born this prana, the mind, organs. That is at the individual level, Vyashti level. Prana, mind, organs, sense organs are at the Vyashti individual level. At the Samashti level, it is Akasha, Vayu, Jyotihi, Apaha, Prithvi. At the Samashti total level. This one verse explains the whole creation in Mundakopanishad. From Brahman, from this Maya Shakti, is born this entire body, mind, and the world. That's all. To whom does this Shakti belong? It belongs to Brahman. So what is the world? Actually speaking, world is nothing but Brahman with name and form. Today I'm thinking I'm the individual. That is a misconception. We have to remove this Atma, Jivatma, which is wrongly understood. So, Viyatadi Jayate. So, from that one imperishable, pure consciousness principle, there are two things which are seen, appeared, which is at the individual level, the body, at the total level, all the five elements. Space, starting from space onwards. How do I apply it in myself? When I am sleeping, I am in ignorance. I don't know my nature. Now, Upanishad is telling me, actually speaking, in the sleep state, I am not a nobody, but I am what is called as Brahman. From a nobody, you become everybody. That means that is the cause of the whole creation. This ignorance has to be knocked out from your intellect. We are going to see this, how this ignorance goes away by this knowledge. This is the knowledge you need. And we are going to study the sleep state in very big detail in the following 4-5 verses. From this 5 elements, first comes the Sukshma Bhuta, the subtle form of the 5 elements before the Panchikaranam. We have seen Panchikaranam in Tattvabodha. I am revising it so that you can put the context now. Then comes the gross elements. And both of them, they originate from that Shakti, which is called as Maya. If I say I am Brahman, I have the Shakti as Brahman to project this entire waking world. Tataha Virat Abhut. When this world is created, what happens? Chidabhasa gets formed. For example, when you have a mirror and you stand in front, automatically a reflection comes. So similarly, when pure consciousness is always there, okay? I, as pure consciousness, am eternal, beyond time, beyond space. That is my real nature. But when I see this body every day in the morning, when it is the body wakes up and then the body sees this world, what is happening? A reflection of that pure Brahman gets formed in the mind of the Jiva. The mirror captures the reflection. Similarly, the mind captures the reflection of consciousness, which is the life principle. Without this reflection of consciousness, the prana cannot function in the body. If the prana is not there in the body is not sentient. The body will not be able to function. So wherever the possibility of a Chidabhasa is there, that means wherever the reflection gets formed, that is what we call it as a Jiva. Sat Abhasa means what? That pure consciousness, which is Sat, pure existence, it gets reflected in the body. In which levels it is? Micro and macro. Micro means what? In the individual shariram and in the macro world. There are names which are given to the micro vyashti. 3 names are given. The gross body is called as Vishwa. The subtle mind is called as Taijasa. The ignorance which is there is called as, which we experience in sleep, is called as Prajna. This is at the Vyashti level. Correspondingly, there is something called as Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Antaryami. Corresponding to Vishwa, there is Virat. There is an error here. I put Vishwa repeated here. It should be Virat. So Virat, Hiranyagarbha. Virat means what? The Sthula Prapancha. The gross universe. Hiranyagarbha stands for the subtle universe. The laws of gravitation. The laws of cosmology. The laws of the Panchabhutas, how do they function? All the laws are nothing but it is the functioning of Hiranyagarbha. Antaryami is equivalent to the ignorance of the individual. At the total level, the causal body is called as Antaryami. Antaryami is not born, it is already there as Karanam. It is always there, like you have Brahman, you have Ishvara or Antaryami, the self. Antaryami is also called as Maya. Okay. Tasmin avasishtam abhu jagat. Upon this samashti jagat, the individual vyashti, the living things and other objects are born. So Vidyaranya summarizes 6 mantras of the Mundaka Upanishad in one verse here. The whole world is name and form. The seen world, yeah? The seen world is mithya. Mithya means what? It is not independently existing. So this particular mantra is explaining the Mundaka Upanishad. The Purusha alone is all this universe. You see, this is the Mahavakyam of Mundaka Upanishad. Purusha is this whole universe. That is the Mahavakyam. Purusha evedam vishwam. He who knows that Purusha as the immortal Brahman, how does he know this? How does the Jiva knows this, that Purusha, which is the cause of the world, is there in himself? How does the Jiva knows this? He knows it as seated in the cavity of the intellect. And when he comes to know this, what happens to the Jiva? He unties the knot of ignorance in this life itself. See, this verse is extremely important. It's packed with the meaning of how ignorance can be destroyed once and for all, and then I am ever free from birth and death. We'll see the other verses, then you will understand the full picture. After you see the 57th verse, in 57th verse is the last verse of this section. About Mahavakyam, about oneness, everything will be clear once we do the 57th verse. 54th verse. This Purusha Sarva Jagat Rupene Bhasate. It is appearing as this whole universe. This Purusha, Purusha means what? The consciousness principle which lies beyond the sleep state. Always remember, consciousness is beyond the sleep state. There is something. Don't say there is nothing. I go to sleep and there is nothing. No, there is Brahman beyond the sleep state. And that Brahman is the cause of the whole universe. The true nature of the world, when analyzed, is this self alone. You see, these are all trying to say how this self is there in this body, the self is there in the universe. Both the self are not two different self, but ultimately it is one self, which is Brahman. See, each one of us says, aham, 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 I am, I am, I am. We all have this in us. Each one, and this aham never leaves us. Throughout our living life, we will have this notion called as aham. I am, I am, I am. That is the real nature of mind. You should try to understand that who is that I am without the body, without the mind. That is called as consciousness. That is called as Brahman. See, it is very easy if you try to apply to yourself. All these mantras are supposed to help us to reveal my own nature. Purusha Mayaya, universe through this Maya Shakti, Sarva Rupena Jagat Bhasate. Simple Sanskrit. This Purusha, through its Shakti. What is this Shakti? How can I know what is this Shakti? Very easy. Do you have the power to walk? Do you have the power to talk? Do you have the power to think? Do you have the power to taste? All this is called a Shakti. So similarly, in the whole universe, there is a Shakti. That Shakti is called as Maya. The holder of that Shakti is called as Brahman. What this mantras are saying is that Brahman is common to the whole universe and to this body. That's all. Because it is common, I also can claim Aham Brahmasmi. That is the teaching of the Mundaka Upanishad. See how, if you understand the whole analysis of the universe, you will be able to understand your own nature. So this Maya Shakti appears as the Nama Rupa, as name and form. So what is the definition of the word? Nama Rupa Jagat. What is the definition of who am I? Aham Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The easiness is called as Satyam. That Satyam, is it there in the body? Yes. Of course it is there. I always say I exist. I exist. Is it there in the world? Yes, it is there. The world is always there. World is existing. That existence is called as ease. And it belongs to Aksharam Brahma. Now you can refer to that Aksharam Brahma. What is that Aksharam Brahma? I told you in the beginning, there are two things in creation. One is the sentient, another is the insentient. Insentient is Maya, Aksharam is sentient. So the easiness, existence belongs to what? That Brahman. Nama Rupa borrows easiness from Aksharam. How do I understand this sentence called as borrowing, lending, and all that? Very simple. We all watch the TV. The TV screen is the Aksharam, never changes. What is changing? The movie. News comes, we off the news, then we put some sports, cricket match. We forget the cricket match, then we again watch a movie. But all this is changing. What is not changing? The screen. The non-changing screen is the hero, without which the hero or heroine cannot exist. So, like the movie borrows existence from the screen, similarly, all our experiences through the mind, the screen for that is this consciousness. Because it is the screen, we say that the universe is nothing but the screen in another form. That's all. What is movie? Movie is nothing but the screen, which is the substratum. So either you call it, I'm seeing the substratum. If you have the correct vision, you will see the screen. If you have a wrong vision, you'll be attracted with the movie. The Purusha alone is the universe. Again, I'm repeating this second chapter, first section, 10th mantra. The last mantra is a very important mantra, which is what we are analyzing now. The Purusha alone is all this universe. You must remember this. Purusha evedam vishwam. Etad yo veda nihitam guhayam. One who knows that this Purusha is there in my intellect, what happens to him? He breaks that knot of ignorance. Sarva rupena jagat. Sarva Purushaha eva. See, in Purusha Suktam is another very important Suktam where you find the essence of the Upanishad in that. In that, the second verse of Purusha Suktam says, whatever is born now, whatever is yet to be born in future, all are nothing but this Brahman. Purusham evedam sarvam yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam. All what will be born in future, all which was existing in the past, all which is existing now, all this is that Purushaha. And what is the description of this? Even the gods, he is the controller. He transcends the mortal state. That means what? This Purusha is immortal. There is something called as immortal in this creation. And that is called as Purusha or Brahman. So that immortal, always existing, is this whole creation, is what I should understand. See, the question asked by Shaunaka in the beginning, if you have if you have not forgotten, Shaunaka, the disciple of Mundaka Upanishad, wanted to know what? Oh Guru, teach me one thing in this creation by which I can know the entire creation. That is what is explained in these verses. There is nothing else except this Brahman. But what about the plurality which I'm seeing? I see so many jivas, I see so many trees, mountains, rivers, all that. the Upanishad says the plurality which you see is only name and form. How can you explain to me? Gold is the substance, ring, bangle, small ring, big bangle, big necklace, all that is name and form. You can have a gold drishti or you can have a ornament drishti. Vision of the ornaments, then you will miss the gold. If you have the vision of the gold, you will not have the vision of the ornaments. If you have the vision of this Brahman, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, existence, consciousness, infinite, immortal, changeless, you will not have the vision of the world. If you have the vision of the world, oh, I'm Jiva, I'm suffering, I'm doing this, all that. If you have this vision, you have forgotten your real nature. Ataha sarvam, since Brahman alone appears as the universe, therefore Brahman is the universe. Vastu tattva avalokane. When the world is seen, perceived from the standpoint of its real nature, the wall is not a wall, the chair is not a chair, world is not a world, but it is all existence, consciousness. That's all. So when you look at the world as existence, then you will not be seeing the plurality, but you will be always enjoying the reality. Superficially, for our transactions, we will be using the world for vyavahara. But always, what will be the vision of a jnani? This vision of a jnani is, it is all that one consciousness, satyam jnanam anantam, which is appearing as this universe. And whenever something appears and doesn't have its own existence, it is borrowing existence from something else. What is it called? Mithya. Snake, rope snake, borrows existence from the rope. It is called as mithya. Dream world borrows existence from the waker. It is called as mithya. The waker borrows its existence from the Brahman. Therefore, waker is mithya. Mithya is an appearance. The sleeper borrows existence from the waker. It is mithya. What is Satyam? Satyam is Brahman. What is that Brahman? What is the nature of that? It is pure existence. That's all. It is conscious. It is self-evident consciousness. The world is appearing, but it cannot be taken as a second thing. That is what the Veda Upanishads say. You see a reflection in the mirror. Can you take the reflection as a second thing? No. It is me alone appearing as the reflection. What is existing, what is really existing is me, my face. Reflection is there because the mirror. I remove the mirror, that image is gone. So when my mind is sleeping in the deep sleep state, mind is sleeping, the mirror is gone. The reflection of the reflection is gone. Like the reflection goes away, when the mirror goes away, similarly, all of us, when we go to sleep, what happens to me? The me which was in the waking state has gone to sleep. And that is the reflected consciousness. It is that mirror, mind which has gone to sleep. I am always there as what? Satyam Jnanam Anantam, changeless. Remember the word changeless. See, these mantras are all the deepest Vedanta. There is nothing more deeper than these 4-5 verses which you are going to study now. If you study these 4-5 verses thoroughly, also in your own mind, try to bring these ideas again and again, you will be transforming yourself from Atma Bhava, from Jiva Bhava to Atma Bhava, from Atma Bhava to Brahma Bhava. This is the transformation which will happen when you understand these 5-6 verses very well. Very clearly, you should understand. Oh, this is what the Upanishad is trying to tell me. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that pure consciousness. I am not, I'm the eternal consciousness, always there. I am always there is the truth declared by the Upanishad. It is teaching me that. Today I am taking myself as the body, as the mind. The mind was angry in the morning. I keep on thinking, why did I become angry? Why did I become angry? That is what is called as samsara. So the snake you see is nothing but the rope. The world you see is nothing but Brahman. Now, this statement is not an equating statement, but it is a displacing statement. This universe which I am seeing is Brahman. This is not equating statement, it is displacing statement. Equating statement is called as Aikya statement. Aikya Samanadi Karanyam. Displacing statement is called as Bada Samanadi Karanyam. These are again technical words, doesn't matter. Just hear it slowly. As you finish one Upanishad by another Upanishad, this idea of Bada Samanadi Karanam will sink into your mind. The snake, see what happens in the case of rope snake. The snake misperception is replaced or displaced by rope perception. Similarly, when it is displaced, it is called as badaha, negated. When one member of a statement is displaced by the other member, which is misperceived member, is replaced by rightly perceived member, that statement is called as Bada Samanadi Karanya, or in English, displacing statement. Tattvamasi is equating statement. Aikyam. Bada Samanidi Karanam, what does it, in this statement of Badaha, one portion is Satyam. And what is the misplaced one? That is Mithya. In the case of Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. This Brahman, when I say Aham Brahma Asmi, that is, I am that pure Brahman. It is Bada Samanadi Karanam. The body and mind I negate. What do I retain? Easiness, consciousness in me I retain. Sarvam Vishwam Brahmam. What do I say? This whole universe, which I was thinking is universe, as universe per se, is replaced by Brahman. Sarvam Vishwam Brahman is Bada Samanadi Karanya Vakyam. Again, I am repeating. You, before the knowledge, before knowing anything about Brahman, before knowing anything about substratum, about consciousness, about Maya Shakti, before all that, I used to just say, oh, the world is there, I'm experiencing the world, that's all. But now I'm learning how to replace this world and then see what? See Brahman. That is the beauty of this statement called as Sarvam Vishwam Brahman. What about so what happens to, there is another sentence in Ishavasya Upanishad. Ishavasyam idagum sarvam. Ishavasyam idagum sarvam. World is misplaced. That is what is called as mithya. What do I replace it? What is the misplacing one? What do I replace it with? I replace it with Brahman or Isha. And that Isha is what? Satya. So I can displace the world vision with Brahma vision. If I know this knowledge of substratum and superimposition. See, this whole thing is based on Adhyasa Bhashyam. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya is conveyed through this Mahavakya. Vastu Tattva Avalokane. This is the Vastu which the student wanted to know right in the beginning. What is that one thing by which I can know the entire creation? Shaunaka is the student, the teacher Angiras has answered that question in this particular verse. What is that knowing which everything is as good as known? The answer is found in the 54th verse. Sarvam Purushaha Eva Brahman. That Purusha alone is the universe. If you know that Purusha correctly, as mentioned in the Upanishad, you have known the whole universe. What about the universe which existed 100,000 or 2,000 years ago? That world which existed hundreds of years ago is also the same Purusha. Purusha has not changed. The world is changing because world is Maya. What you are learning is the changeless Purusha. Vivarta upadana karanam, parinami upadana karanam. Parinami upadana karanam means what? The changing cause of the universe, which is Maya, which is matter. Vivarta upadana karanam is the changeless, that is Brahman. Entire creation is Brahman in essence. Eka vijnanena sarvam vijnanam bhavati. Brahma vijnanena sarva vijnanam is the explanation of the first half of Mundak mantra, which is this mantra which is shown. Okay. In the 55th verse, this is the most important verse in the 100 verses of this exposition by Vidyaranya. Mahavakya. It's called Mahavakya. Why is it called Mahavakyam? Because it explains to me that I also, as a simple jiva living in this body, I can also know that Brahman in me. That is what is the essence of this mantra. What does it say? Dehe traya guhayam yat chaitanyam sakshi vidyate. That Chaitanyam which is there in the universe, and it is called as Brahman, in my body, it is also there. How is it there? Sakshi rupena vidyate. What do you mean by Sakshi? It is the knower of all the thoughts in the mind. Do you have thoughts or not? Yes, yes, yes. I have so many thoughts. I can't stop thinking. If thoughts are there must be a knower of the thoughts. Do you know that you have the thoughts? Of course, I know. This is my thoughts. I know my thoughts very well. Good thoughts, bad thoughts. Right from morning to evening, I am only thinking. I know that is what these mean. Here, what the Upanishad says is that consciousness, which is the substratum of the whole universe as the existence principle, is there in this body, in this intellect. That Brahman is shining. And it is the self of all beings. See, it is when I say aham, aham means the self in this body. You will also say aham, aham, aham. So it is the aham of the entire universe. That aham of the entire universe is given a name Brahman. So this self in this body and that aham in the whole universe, there is no difference. That it is only name and form is different, but the essence is one. That is what Vidyaranya wants to convey in this 55th mantra. The second line explanation of the above verse. Second line, what does it say? Etat yo veda nihitam guhaya. Same thing Vidyaranya is saying. In the cavity of the intellect, this Brahman can be experienced as the essence of the Jiva. And once you know that this is the essence of the whole Jiva, what happens? My ignorance about myself is gone. Vidya grantin vikiritiha somya. This ignorance, the knot of ignorance, which is that I didn't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. That knot is broken once and for all. Dehe trayam guhayam. Guha means what? Guha means cave. This Brahman is hidden in the cave of three sharirams. Cave is a place where sunlight does not enter. Whatever is inside the cave is not known because of darkness. Here we are talking about the Hridaya, the spiritual cave, which is the intellect. And what are the three bodies? They are the three layers of the cave. What are the three? Deha Trayam Guhyam. What are the three bodies we are talking about? Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram. Tattvabodha. That is why they say you revise Tattvabodha like you chant Vishnu Sahasranamam, you can chant Tattvabodha as Nitya Parayana because you will remember them. The physical body, the subtle body, the causal body, within which there is self-ignorance. That self-ignorance is called as Mula Avidya because it is a cave in which there is ignorance. This cave of intellect is compared to the external cave in which we see darkness and we don't know what is inside the cave. The Karana Shariram has the wheeling of the self. These are all, now we are going deeper and deeper, understanding our own intellect. Ignorance of my real nature, that I am not the body, mind, and not even ignorance, but I am the Sakshi Chaitanyam, which reveals the three Shariram. This is the most important point we should remember. See, we sometimes don't know what is this causal body. Within this cave, pervaded by ignorance, is the Jiva. That pure consciousness, Satyajnana Manantam, where is that? It is hidden in this cave, in this Buddhi. But the Buddhi is full of darkness. It doesn't know that it is in ignorance all the time. Sakshi Chaitanyam Vidyate. Consciousness is Vyatiriktaha. Vyatiriktaha means consciousness is different than the three bodies. The three bodies are matter principle. Consciousness is different, at the same time it is within the three. Space is different than all the objects in creation. It is within the creation, but it is different than all the objects in the creation. So consciousness is there in the body, in the intellect, but it is other than the body. Behind this reflected consciousness, the Chidabhasa, is the Sakshi Chaitanya. Can I ever see the Sakshi Chaitanya? No, you cannot see the Sakshi at all. Only you can say, Aham Sakshi Asmi. I am that Sakshi. I stands for that Sakshi. It does not stand for the Ahamkara, ego, which comes in the waking state. It goes off in the dream state. It goes off in the sleep state. The waker I is not in the dream, is not in the dream state. The dreamer I is not in the sleep state. Waker I and the dreamer I are already passive in the sleep state. But I, the consciousness, which is revealing these three states, is Brahman. Whenever I am using the word I am, actually speaking, all of us, without our knowledge, we are only meaning this Chaitanyam, this existence principle. The consciousness, original non-changing, is called as Sakshi. Consciousness which is reflected in the mind is called as Chidabhasa. It is also given a name Pramatru Chaitanya. Associated with the Sharira is Pramata. Now, Vidyaranya gives an example. He says, when you say I was a boy, for example, you say I was a boy. Previously, that I referred to the youth body. Now it is referring to the current old body. But what is the difference? In both, beyond both the bodies, what happens is, what do we generally say? I equate old I and the new I. And you say, I am the same. I have not changed at all. I hear when you say I have not changed, what it means, that's Sakshi I. Body is not equal. Young body, old body is different. Mind is not the same. Old thoughts, immature thoughts when you are a young boy or a girl. Now you are a mature boy or a girl. Thoughts have been changed. The body has gone changed, but the Sakshi has not changed. The dream body, the waking body is different. The dream time and the waking time is different. But what do we say on getting up? I dreamt, I slept, I am waking. The I actually we are using as the ego. In fact, what is real meaning of I is the Sakshi. changeless Sakshi. I was a boy in 1960. I am now 70 years old. We are unknowingly referring to the Sakshi Chaitanyam, which was aware of the young body, which is and the fresh mind, and now it is aware of the old body with the new thoughts, but the Sakshi has not changed. That is why in meditation, when I say Om, and I say, you see the gap between the two Oms, that gap between the two Oms is Sakshi Chaitanya. You close your eyes, chant Om. Remain silent. Again chant Om. Again become silent. Again chant Om. Again observe the silence. This way, if you practice meditation, the gap between the two Oms, you become aware. Suddenly you wake up, oh my God, I am there, but there is nothing else. That is what is this Veda is telling you, that that is your real nature. That is what is called as awareness. Whenever we equate the past and the present, it is called pratyabhijna, recognition. I was so and so, now I am so and so, I am recognizing the past. That means what? You are actually Sakshi, which was there in the past. Comparing that Sakshi to this Sakshi, the Sakshi has not changed, but the external body, mind, world has changed. Dakshinamurti Stotram has got this Pratyabhijnaya principle. All of you who have done the Dakshinamurti Stotram with me, you can go back and study that verse. So in every Pratyabhijnaya, we are equating the past I and the present I. We are unknowingly discarding the past attribute and putting on the present attribute. The attributes are contradictory and exclusive, but we are superimposing the attribute on Sakshi. That is what we should understand. We refer to Sakshi very often without knowing we are referring to Sakshi. The baker says, I dreamt. Dream belongs to the dreamer. When dreamer was present, there was no waker in the dreamer. See, in the dream world, the baker is not there. In the waker, the dreamer is not there. But when we say, I dreamt, I slept, I woke up, that I stands for what? Sakshi. It does not stand for the waker I. It does not, we wrongly understand it is the waker I. That is the mistake we have to correct. First, we have to acknowledge there is something called as Sakshi. Very easy. I mean, you say, I was there at 5 years old. Now I am also there. That body has changed, mind has changed, world has changed. I has not changed. That I is what? Sakshi. Suppose you're dreaming about some shopping in Dubai, and then the baker is sitting in Singapore, sleeping in Singapore. But you get up and say that I slept, I dreamt, I this. But actually, what is there? There is a common principle which is there in this I. That is what is called as Sakshi. The I without the attributes is called as Sakshi. I with the attributes of body, mind, sense organs is given a name Pramata. When we do the equation Aham Brahma Asmi, we are not talking of the Pramata, we are talking about the Sakshi. That Sakshi in this body is the Jagat Karanam Brahma. That is the Mahavakya. See, you should know how to deal with this Mahavakyam. If you understand Mahavakyam like this, then you can say, Aham Nitya Mukta Atma Asmi. I am ever free Atma. But you should follow the verse and the meaning exactly as taught in these notes. These notes are very precious. You should go slowly and understand the meaning behind them. The Vedanta's aim is to retrieve the Sakshi, which we already are. Only we are getting the education that we are the Sakshi. We need to differentiate Sakshi and Pramata. What is the definition of Pramata? Anytime there is an I associated with the body, when I'm seeing the body, what is it called? Pramata. When I'm not seeing the body, am I there or not? Yes, I'm there. In sleep, am I there or not? That is called as Sakshi. So, Avastha Traya Viveka is important to understand the Sakshi. Before marriage, first we do the Jatakam fixing. We see whether the horoscopes match. So similarly, when we do the final equation of the Sakshi with Brahman, we first do the Jatakam fixing. We see, is there any oneness between the Jiva and the Brahman principle? Brahman Jagat Karanyam is fixed in this mantra. Which mantra? In verse number, the first section, second mantra, we are doing the first section now. In this first section, the second mantra said, Divyo Amurtaha Purushaha. If you remember, we had done this. This is a very important verse. We have seen this. So the self which was explained in this verse number 2 is now equated with Brahman as the ultimate cause of this universe, because that is the self of the universe. This I have already explained to you. I am the waker who projected the dream. I am the Sakshi who am Brahman. I am now projecting this universe. This is the way I understand Mahavakya. Sakshi Chaitanyam Vidyate. You see, Mahavakyam has got two padams, Tat Pada and Tvam Pada. Tvam Pada is the Vyashti, I, the body and the Sharira. Tat Pada is the universe, Brahman. So the Lakshyartha means what? Indicative meaning of this Jiva is not the three bodies, but it is Sakshi without the three Shariras. I hope you're getting this point. What is the meaning of Lakshyartha? Lakshyartha and Vachyartha. Vachyartha means the direct meaning of the Jiva. The direct meaning of the Jiva is what? I am this body, I have this mind. That is the direct meaning. What is the Lakshyartha? The indicative meaning. Indicative meaning is the consciousness which is not changing in the body and mind. Always it is there. It is that Sakshi without the three Sharirams. That is the Lakshyartha. Whenever we see the Lakshyartha of the universe, what happens? The gross universe is gone, the subtle universe is gone, we negate them, which is called as Bada Samanadi Karanyam. We learn to negate intellectually. the three sharirams, and then what happens? Etatu sarvatmakam brahma iti budhva. There is only one Chaitanyam, which is the substratum, which is the lakshyartha of the jiva, which is the lakshyartha of Brahman, of the universe. The Ishvara, which we say as the whole universe, and jiva, which is this body, they are all equated with one consciousness. What type of Brahman it is? That Brahman which is appearing as Sarvatmakam. Sarvatmakam is an important word in understanding Mahavakya. Sarva Atmakam. The self of everything in the universe is this Brahman. That self alone is appearing as this universe. All the time. Is God there or not? Of course, the God himself is appearing as this universe. I am thinking I am a separate body and the world is separate, and these are all misconceptions. Displacing our thoughts as aham, I am the body, mind, and replacing it with aham brahmasmi is the job of Mahavakya. Very, very, the most important thing in the entire Upanishadic literature. Mahavakya. Aham eva idam sarvam. I am that all. Here I means what? Not the body. It is not the pramata. It is the sakshi. In this, there is one verse here, which I've just given here as a reference. Taittiriya Upanishad, in this verse, 3rd chapter, Bhriguvalli, 10th section, Anuvaka, 6th mantra. There, the meditator, he realizes in his meditation, I am that substratum Brahman, and then he cries aloud and says, I am everything in creation. I am everything in creation. That is what is called as Sarvatma Bhava. One who knows Brahman in this format, one who knows himself as this Brahman, he is the one who has received, who has got the Parama Purushartha called Moksha. Iti etad budhva. Having known in this manner, in this manner means what? Lakshyartha. What happens then? The self-ignorance, tamaha, is gone forever. Nudati, to push. Nudati, the word nudati means either to drop or to push, to negate ignorance. What is this ignorance? What is this ignorance? Do I know this ignorance or not? This ignorance, Vidyaranya explains this very beautifully in the 56th verse. In Tattva Bodha, we all understand Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram. Sthula Shariram, gross body. I can see it very easy. Sukshma Shariram, very, very easy. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm angry, I am jealous. That all that is mind, thoughts in the mind. Sukshma Shariram, I understand. But Karana Shariram, what is it? This is a mystery for seekers, even after studying Vedanta for 25 years. And Vidyaranya, in one small verse, he clarifies what is this causal bond. If you understand it like this, what Vidyaranya is teaching us, then your ignorance about that ignorance will be gone. Very beautifully, one of the participants, Bharat, had mentioned this in one of his communications with me. The ignorance of ignorance. That is what is being explained here in this beautiful verse, 56th verse. That which gives essence to ajnanam is only the cognition of identity in the form of I am ignorant. This identity is the knot of avidya. It is the blend of this avidya with the self which is removed by the realization of Brahman. How ignorance can go away in my life right now and forever. What a brilliant explanation. I am ignorant. When I say I am ignorant, what I mean, Vidyaranya says here in this very, very beautiful way, he says, ignorance is nothing but my entire sleep state. That is the mass of ignorance. I am ignorant is a common universal experience of all people, every one of us. Do you know Brahman? Of course I don't know. I have not even heard about Brahman. That is because of ignorance. What is that ignorance? That shariram. There is, you see, this gross body is there, we know. Subtle body is there, mind is there, we know. There is a body which is called as causal body. That body is full of darkness. And that is what is called as ignorance. That is what is experienced in the sleep state. What we call as a sleep state is nothing but avidya. Because that is there. It is the cause. It is from where this whole waking is coming and the dream is coming. Therefore, throughout our waking state, we always say, I don't know what will happen in the future. I don't know why I behaved like this in the past. I don't know is there continuous universal experience for all the human beings. That is what is called as avidya. That is what is being explained in this verse. I will not be able to finish it. I will just do a little bit, 1 or 2 slides, but then next week we'll probably continue this, but very important mantra. The Purusha alone, again I'm repeating, this is a Mahavakyam in the Mundaka Upanishad, 2:110. Purusha evedam Vishwam. That Purusha alone is this Vishwam. Vishwam means the universe. That Purusha, that Brahman is this universe. Again and again it is repeating. I don't know that. I don't know that is ignorance. Now, your ignorance is gone or not? Yes, it is gone. Why? How is it gone? Because I know I exist in the world without the universe, without the body, without this universe. That I is called as Purusha. That I is never changing. It's changeless. Vivarta upadana karana. By knowing Purusha evedam Vishwam, one sentence, 1/4 of the sentence, the first verse, you have given, ignorance is gone. The Mula Avidya goes away. Avidya Granthi. Why is it called Granthi? Because that self, which is Brahman, is tied to this Avidya. That is why it is called as a knot. It is a blend of ignorance together with that pure self. Now I am trying to remove that ignorance and trying to retain that self as it is. And that self, when it remains as it is without the ignorance, is called as Brahman. Avidya Granthi Eshaha Syat. The knot of ignorance. Ignorance is what? What is the definition? It is a mixing up of Atma and Anatma. Pure Atma exists as independently Satyam. That is what is Satyam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam, pure Atma. It independently is existing. All the time it is independent. But in the waking state, it gets mixed up with the ignorance. In the sleep state, it is complete ignorance, it's soaked in ignorance. In every identification, there is a mixing up of Anatma and Atma. This is what is called as Adhyasa Bhashyam, which Shankaracharya wrote before the Brahma Sutra. I have covered this before taking the Upanishads. I am Atma is the reality. I am man is Adhyasa. I am woman is Adhyasa. Man belongs to the physical body. Women belongs to the physical body. But when in my language, what do I say? I am mixing up the body as I. This mixing up or tying up the knot of I with the body is called as Adhyasa. This is called as Tadatmayam, identification. The moment in waking state, what happens? I see the physical body. I tie that I, which is there in the sleep state without the body, mind, and world, that I tie it up with the body. Now I'm untying that identification. So after identification of the physical body, I become a pramata. That physical body becomes the self. That means this body actually is not the self. Body is body. It's made up of Panjabhutas. But the attributes of the self, I put it on the body. The attributes of Anatma, I put it on the self. This is what is called as complete ignorance. When body is healthy or sick or fat, I say I am healthy, sick or fat. I have to correct the mistake and say I am pure consciousness, existence. The body is sick, the body is fat. When I change the language, what happens? My samsara is gone. This is what is called as disidentification with the Anatma and attaching myself to the Atma. Body has become myself is the samsara. Stula shariram abhimana, sukshma shariram abhimana, karana shariram abhimana. Abhimana should be dropped. I am young, old, fair, dark. They all reveal that avidya. At least in your mind, you stop that. Stopping that, negating that in the mind is called as Jivan Mukti. It is called as through knowledge, I have internal sannyasa. 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Jnana karma sannyasa. Through jnanam, aham brahmasmi, I am Atma. I cut that knot of avidya. Sukshma shariram is also mixed up with the Atma. Mind is disturbed, I say I am disturbed. Mind becomes the self. Karana shariram is the greatest mistake. I mix up, I don't know anything. Actually speaking, I am everything, but I don't know anything is the expression which we use. Ignorance, avarna shakti, mula avidya, these are all the same. It is called as karana shariram. How do I express? I express it as I am ignorant. Each of these wrong identification gives me a particular identity. I am male, I am son, I am daughter, I am a PhD, I am ignorant. These are all the three sharirams which are all got mixed up. Sthula identity and Sukshma identity comes and goes. It comes during sleep. Sthula identity comes. When does the Sthula identity disappear? It disappears in death. It disappears in sleep. Therefore, we say the Sthula Shariram has come and gone. It comes and goes, comes and goes. In death, it comes and goes. But who remains? That Jivatma who thought he was the body, if he still continues to think that he is the body, will remain and take another body to fulfill another set of prarabdha karma. But here we learn how to cut that knot. So I will stop here. I will continue with this particular slide. We have finished the 56th verse, but next time I will do the revision first of the 56th verse. In this, okay, just one last point here. Sukshma Shariram, when does it go? Whenever the Srishti finishes, at that time only the Sukshma Shariram goes. It does not go during every birth. Only during Srishti, when creation itself goes during Pralayam, the Sukshma Shariram goes, but what never goes is the Karana Shariram, ignorance. And I am attached to that ignorance. As long as I am attached to that ignorance, I have got Jiva Bhava. Okay? All right. We'll close now with this, and we'll continue with the revision of this verse. It's a very important verse. We'll continue this. And this is the verse which will decide how you become free from this body identifications. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. I wish you all a very happy Diwali on Monday. And this is the light of ignorance when it goes away from our life. That is the light of Diwali. I know myself as the pure, immortal Atma. That is the real light, which we express it in our day-to-day life as the celebration of Diwali. Okay. Let's see if there's any questions on the chat box. Yes, there are some questions in the chat box. Shanmugam will unmute. Causal body is associated with ignorance, Maya, but at the same time, it is also associated with Anandamaya Kosha, the sleeping state. It is true that Ananda arises because of non-association of the sleep with the body, mind, etc. There is apparently some contradiction for Ajnani like me. Would you like to clarify? Very good question. See, basically, we should understand what is Anandamaya Kosha, what is Tamoguna, and what is this ignorance. See, three things we should understand. Anandamaya Kosha is also called as Karana Sharira, causal body. In the five koshas, Sthula, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, all that we all know. So in the end, we say Anandamaya. Anandamaya stands for the Karana Shariram. In the Karana Shariram, there are two parts. One portion is I don't know my real nature. That is called as Avarana Shakti. That is what is called as Tamo Guna Pradhanam. See, Prakriti has got three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Why do we go to sleep? Because of the Tamo Guna in the Prakriti. In the Panchabhutas, there is something called as Tamo Guna. Our body is made up of Tamo Guna. Therefore, all of us, we go to sleep, including animals. They go to sleep. Plants also go to sleep in the night. When there is no sunlight, you will find that they are all gone to sleep. Again, in the morning, again they wake up. Now, the bliss which is experienced in the sleep state, it is because of non-association of the sleep state with the body. You are right. That Ananda experience, how do I experience Ananda in the sleep state? There is no body, there is no mind, but still I experience Ananda. That Ananda is a Ananda which is covered with Tamoguna. That is why I don't know myself. Suppose if there was no Tamoguna in the sleep state, all of us would be jnanis forever. All the time we'll know, who am I? I am that Brahman. You don't need to ask me also. Everybody, it is like the sunlight. The sunlight for the sun, there is no day and night. This particular aspect, this particular part of whatever Viveti is asking is asked in the Brahma Sutra. There is a sutra there. It is explained there. So to answer your question, the sleep state happiness is one type of happiness. The waking state happiness is another type of happiness. Waking state happiness is graded Priya, Moda, Pramoda. The sleep state happiness, there is no gradation. It is just one Tamoguna related happiness. I don't know myself. It is ignorance born. Tamoguna born. So it's a very dull type of happiness. Very dull. There is no maza in it, Okay, fine. I feel fresh. Why do I feel fresh after getting up? That freshness is nothing but the mind which was agitated has rested for some time. That mind which has rested for some time experiences the bliss of that Brahman, which is reflected happiness in the sleep state. That reflected happiness in the sleep state is Anandamaya. It is not the Ananda in the waking state, which is Priya, Moda, Pramoda. This is a reflected happiness. This reflected happiness is not me. The reflected happiness of Priya, Moda, and Pramoda is not me. These are all reflections. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a very big section which talks about Ananda Mimamsa, analysis of happiness. In that, Shankaracharya gives this explanation of what you are asking. Your question is very beautiful. Very, very in-depth question. It has the answer. I've explained to you now. Reflected happiness is the happiness in sleep. It is not the Atma Ananda, which is not experiential. It is only claimable. Aham Brahmasmi is the Atma Ananda, in which there is no change. Always the same blissful nature. It is not ignorance nature. Ignorant nature is what we are experiencing, avidya. Once the avidya knot is broken, what happens? I am always blissful. That is the teaching. So from an ignorance state, I rise to the level of jnanam, aham brahmasmi. That it will be explained in the next verse. We are going to see that next week. But just to tell you, the state of knowledge in waking and dream, the state of sleep, ignorance in sleep state, all this is illumined by Brahman. That is the ultimate answer given by Vidyaranya in the next verse. In the 57th verse, when we end the discussion of this section of creation and Mahavakyam, he will explain that very beautifully. But I think I have answered your question fairly
yeah.
In this.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So this ananda which we normally derive after a sound sleep, that is again superficial ananda.
Yes, it is again superficial ananda. It is not the Atma Ananda which we must know is my real nature.
Sir, I was a bit confused how ananda can be associated with ignorance and tamaguna, etc. So now it is very clear.
Very good. I'm glad you got the clarity.
Thank you, sir.
Akshay is asking, if subtle body is gone during pralaya, does it mean all memories, emotions, thoughts are also gone? Then how jiva again born after pralaya through causal body? Good. You are a very, very thinking individual. See, when we say subtle body is gone, but causal body is there, Punya Papa is there in the causal body or in the subtle body? Punya Papa is causal body. What brings the body, subtle body, is the Punya Papa. That never leaves. The jiva is still ignorant about his nature. Punya Papam is still there. So, Karana Shariram still survives. Karana Shariram has got the Punya Papam. The Punya Papam, even if it remains dormant for one entire Srishti, it can come back after another Srishti also. See, our law of karma is so beautifully designed and explained in the Veda. So your question, I hope you have cleared. Subtle body is only the memory. What you are saying is, yes, memory is what? A memory is gone means what? Memory of your 5-year-old memory you don't have today. Last week's class gone, already memory finished. Forget about pralaya. My pralaya already happened today. So memory is superficial memory. We are not talking of this. This memory anyway goes. You see, what did I eat yesterday? I've forgotten today. That is simple memory. Gone. It's okay. That is the law of creation. Don't bother, get bothered with the emotions and the memories and thought. These are all at the conscious level or slightly at the subconscious level. But what lies below that is the Punya Papa. Invisible. Jiva is 3 bodies. Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram. Karana Shariram cannot go, it will go only when this jnanam comes. I am not ignorant. That is the jnanam. 56th mantra of this Vidyaranya Swami and 57th mantra. These 2 mantras, if you study, if you can pick up the essence of this and relate it to your sleep experience, then you will come to know, first of all, what is ignorance. Secondly, you will untie that knot of ignorance. That is the central operation which is done by a Mahavakyam. My avidya is gone. Avidya is that ignorance, that darkness. It is the tamoguna. My tamoguna I have destroyed. The moment I destroy my tamoguna, what remains is that pure Brahman. Always there. I am always there. See what happens between a jnani, ajnani. Jnani says, I am, I am, I am, I am. That's it. I am never, you see, you and I, because of our ignorance, we feel that we are not there in sleep state. Nothing is there in sleep state. But for a jnani, he is always there. This is the difference. When the darkness goes away, you also will say, oh, that tamoguna, oh, that was, it is just a sleep state. It is just a state of the mind. It is not me. The moment you get this deep in your own consciousness, it becomes a nishtha for you. Then what happens? You are free. The inner deep analysis, as we are doing through this careful dissection, there is necessarily an initial darkness. Yes. Shama, can you explain to me what you're saying?
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, Shama.
I'm trying to get myself. Yeah, Hari Om Shekharji, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And it's just really so coincidental that it happens to be Diwali, and which really, in a sense, is the enlightenment that we're all seeking. I mean, apart from the fact that the celebration is done to signify, symbolize the homecoming of Rama after, destroying all the enemies. So it is literally symbolic of which each of us seekers are gradually trying to achieve for ourselves, the victory over our own obstacles, our own asuras in our minds.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but what I'm asking is the symbolic thing is also about, the light which we light up every day in our sandhya, either physically or even mentally, there is a light. And Diwali always brings it to the peak level.
Yes.
So I am just really, it's a very ironical thing that the more you study scriptures, the more this thing, it actually opens up a whole Pandora's box, so the whole of darkness, which probably has been there for many lifetimes, which is quietly, the mind has sealed it off. It actually all comes up, rising up like a dense fog and a dust and all that. So it almost sometimes can experientially take you to almost a feeling of tamoguna.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, a very dark, and
yes.
It's not happy. It's not a happy experience at all,
yes.
So I just...
Whenever we experience pain in life, you must remember that it is tamoguna.
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime you experience pain, immediately let your mind say it is tamoguna active in my mind. That's all.
But here it is the whole spiritual seeking itself which is causing pain.
Yes.
It's not a pain I'm talking about which is coming from the outside world.
Yeah.
It is my own experience of my own body and mind, which is a very uncomfortable place to be there, and it was not there. But the more I'm studying, the more it's actually exposes what your mind is doing. It's actually showing you all the tricks your mind is playing. And it is a very unhappy, uncomfortable feeling. So I'm just saying that, is that something that I have to accept? And hence, literally, Sharanagati is the only source which I have. There is nothing else I can do.
What I was trying to explain in today's verse, in this, is exactly what is explained in Mandukya verse, 6th mantra of Mandukya. Just study the 6th mantra. Sleep state is the cause of waking and dream. Sleep state is the cause of waking and dream.
Yes.
Try to contemplate this in yourself. try to see whether the sleep state, because of my ignorance about myself, I am experiencing this whole world jagat in the waking and also experiencing my dream world. But the moment I am aware, I am not this waker, I am not the ignorance sleeper, it is only displacing the I. The I, that is why I said it is Bada Samanadi Karanyam. I only displace my current understanding of my Jivatvam with Atmatvam and Brahmatvam. We are only displacing. We are not physically, we are doing nothing. Let the experiences come tomorrow, another day will come, it will go. But through this knowledge, what I am doing is, I am replacing the Jiva Bhava with Atma Bhava, self. And that self I am replacing with Brahma Bhava through Mahavakya.
Yeah. And whatever the gunas and whatever, which is the uncomfortable experience, that relates to the non-self.
Yes. All the uncomfortable thing is Anatma.
Anatma. So therefore, which is then a dream.
Which is avidya related.
Avidya related, and experientially, it's only that much importance must be given,
yes,
as much as we give to the dream.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm dreaming,
negate it.
all
That's all. What Upanishad is telling us is just negate it like you are negating your dream.
Correct. Yeah. So, and in fact, in truth, really, all that is the wakeful state for the Ajnani is actually really the night, isn't it? For
yes.
The
that is why that chapter 2, Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam, that mantra you should remember. Yeah, what is night for the Jnani is day for all of us. What is day for us is night for Jnani.
Yeah. So this Tamoguna and the night which I am referring to is actually not the dark night of the soul
itself.
It is
not the darkness, but it is the knowledge about his self nature.
Correct.
You see, the Jnani, what is the difference between Jnani and Ajnani? He doesn't have two horns or something, you know.
Yeah.
It is only in his inner understanding, which you and I also can get it. See, the moment I understand that I am not the Jiva Bhava, the Jiva Bhava comes only when this body is seen.
Yeah.
Waking state, the body is seen. Dream state, the body is not seen.
And all the guna is definitely not related to the Atma. It's all
Nirgunam. That is why we say Atma is Nirgunam.
Nirgunam. And that really necessarily there is a time thing that has to be gone through, isn't it? There is nothing I can do, stand on my head.
You can't do anything but just remove your ajnanam about your self, nature of the self. That's all.
Yeah.
That is the only thing possible which the Upanishad is trying to tell us. I will remove your ajnanam from your intellect and I will set you free. Come to me. That is what Upanishad is telling all of us. Come to me. Oh seeker, come to me.
Yes.
You come and listen to these scriptures. I mean, look at what a wonderful way Vidyaranya is explaining to us that this causal body is the sleep state. It is the body in which I am identifying and I'm saying I am ignorant.
Yeah.
You see, in the waking state, I'm identified with the physical body. In the dream state, I'm identified with the mind, subtle body. Now I can understand what is that causal body. Causal body is a ignorance. It's tamoguna completely. And that tamoguna is also there in the waking state also. Therefore, you ask anybody, do you know anything about the world? They will say, I don't know. even the best of the scientists, you ask him, he'll say, I don't know. I know only a small little fraction of the whole universe. That is about the universe. Then second, you ask him, okay, forget the universe. Do you know what you are? He will say, I don't know anything about myself. He knows a little bit. Even the best of the doctors, they know just a portion of the body. They don't know. The eyes doctor doesn't know about the lungs, and the lung doctor doesn't know about the legs, and so ignorance is so prevalent.
And by and large, we can only describe what it is.
Yes.
We can have no idea at all as to what really causes it. That is the most interesting
correct
thing.
You see, now with the help of this scriptural study, it tells us that you replace this ignorant, that I am ignorant about myself, that you replace it with I am Atma.
So the take home from today's this thing is the displacement. I do really like
yes,
this.
You displace that thought in your mind.
Yeah.
I am ignorant. You remove that thought and you put in the same place, you say, I am Atma.
Yeah, so it's challenging that.
Yes.
And in other words, it's the displacement is the same as Pratipaksha Bhavana, isn't it?
No, that Pratipaksha Bhavana is mostly to do with the vrittis only. This is very deeper.
Oh, I see. I was wondering.
Pratipaksha Bhavana is at the side, it's more at the consciousness level, at the superficial level.
Okay, because if I'm looking at that part,
no, Pratipaksha Bhavana, it's only a first aid.
Yeah, but at an experiential level, it's a very helpful one.
It will help you, but it will not help you to remove your self-ignorance.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Self-ignorance.
Because that is the ultimate treatment.
Yes.
That is the ultimate treatment. But on an experiential level, I find that very helpful in the sense of, for example, whatever I'm experiencing today, it may not feel very pleasant, but when I compare it with what was I like a year ago, I can feel, no, it's not so bad. I have moved on. So in that respect, it actually is helpful at a experiential level, the Pratipaksha Bhavana, to some extent.
We
must
always use the Pratipaksha Bhavana whenever we are aware of some sorrowful thoughts in our mind.
Correct.
The moment you start seeing, oh, I'm getting into a slightly wrong mood, immediately you try to learn to displace your thoughts with some other thoughts.
Correct. So, but thank you for clarifying that, because I was wondering whether this displacement you talked about today is the same, but no, it's at a different level.
It is a different level. This is at the causal level of causal body. Pratipaksha Bhavana is at the subtle body level.
Wish you and everyone else the greatest enlightenment for Deepavali.
Thank you. I wish everybody here a very, very happy Diwali. Celebrate at home with your family, and we'll catch up again next week. Any other questions from anybody else?
Hi Shukaji, it's Bharat.
Yeah, Bharat, tell me.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this verse 56. I'm really glad you said it does remind me of Mandukya verse 5 and 6.
Yes.
And the thing is that it's again just keeping it simple. To say I slept and I didn't know anything. That's such an enormous statement. I didn't know anything, but I was sleeping. And that Mandukya verse 6, I think, is incredibly helpful. Just to say I didn't know, straight away, that is the pointer to the ignorance within you, the ignorance of the
Yes.
ignorance. And leading to that, I'm very much reminded of, I think it's in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, for the jnani, the sleep is wakefulness. And during normal waking state, everyone thinks they're awake, but it's actually sleep. So it's everything is a continuation of the ignorance. What we're experiencing is the ignorance until you I'm not explaining very well, but I think where it makes much more sense is the Adhyasa Bhasham of Shankara, where you see everything as Adhyasa, and then you see that the ignorance, where you say I didn't know anything in deep sleep state, is nothing. It was misidentified as ignorance, but
That's
in
correct.
fact it's not.
Yes,
But in fact it's not.
that's correct. You're referring to 69th verse of the
Of
Bhagavad
chapter 2.
Gita,
That's right.
chapter
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani yanisha pashyato munehe.
Correct. Yes.
So
Exactly.
that verse, pashyato munehe, means that a wise man will not say that I slept. A wise man will say, for the world, he will say, yeah, I had a good sleep. But in his mind, he will say, I didn't sleep because now I am not identifying with that causal body. I am not identifying with that causal body. That causal body is the ignorance. That is what is called as avidya. I am not sleeping, but I am now awake. When he says I am awake, means now he is risen to the level of Atma. In this body, I am, when the jnani says I do not sleep, means now I have woken up to my higher nature, which is Atma. That 69th verse of the chapter 2 is a brilliant verse which talks about the same Mandukya of the 6th verse of the Mandukya.
It's so easy to miss. It's both having normal consciousness of experiences and objects and perception. It's natural to recognize that consciousness. It's natural to feel that awareness.
Yes.
But everyone, no matter what their situation, can feel that, and that's life. But the ignorance is also illuminated. Is also in that way. That's how the jnani can say these things, that I am not that causal body.
Yes,
because
that's
it's seen.
This is the central message of Mundaka Upanishad 56th and 57th mantra. Central. You're hitting absolutely at the nail. You know, this is this, and this is what is the result of Mahavakyam. When you understand Mahavakyam correctly, there is no way your ignorance about yourself will not go. If your understanding of Mahavakyam is absolutely crystal clear, everything will fall in place. Everything. That is why I'm saying that these notes which I have sent for 56 and 57, they are brilliant notes hitting upon the central theme of Mahavakyam. If you understand this, you have your ignorance will go. If your ignorance goes, you are Jivan Mukta. You are Jivan Mukta now, here and now. Then you lead your life. Doesn't matter. You enjoy your life. You enjoy Diwali. You enjoy whatever comes in the life. These are all, you know, but you're not, these are not the reality. You see, in your own mind, You have got the Vidya, Brahma Vidya you have received. It cannot be replaced by any other Vidya. Brahma Vidya will do its job. Its job is to remove this ignorance. And once this ignorance goes, the person, he himself will say, I am free. I thought I am the Jiva, but then the Jiva Bhava, which I had during the waking state, that Jiva Bhava is no longer there. It is replaced by Atma Bhava. And that is the fulfillment of the study of Upanishads. I'm glad you brought it up. Your understanding is good, Bharat, very good. And you're able to relate it to all the, in different texts, you're able to bring it. That is, you bring Gita, you bring Mandukya Upanishad, you bring in Mundak Upanishad, and see the same thing expressed in all this. It is the same truth which is coming out.
May I ask you a related question, please?
Yeah.
I checked the YouTube channel, but I was wondering if you have given any lectures on Vakya Vritti.
Vakya Vritti, no, I have not taken it, but I will be taking the same Vakya Vritti, which is the Mahavakya portions,
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
I will be taking that in the Panchadasi. After chapter 4, there is a Panchadasi chapter 5.
Okay, the Vakya Vritti which I was referring to is the one by Shankara.
Correct. Yeah, I have not taken
Okay.
Vakya Vritti as a text. No.
Okay, fair enough. That's completely fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. Okay. If Bahubai, you have any questions? All right. So if there are no questions, wish you all a very happy, Sumana, happy Diwali to you.
Happy Diwali. Happy
Thank you.
Diwali. Thank
Happy
you so
Diwali to
much.
everybody.
Happy
And
Diwali.
celebrate and enjoy your with the families, and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.